Hi everyone, welcome to Tomb of Tihocan. Just notice that as we enter the second half of the game, all these levels are for the most part pretty tricky and generally speaking harder than the first half of the game. So it may take more practice to get used to all the tricks in the level than before. So, entering Tomb of Tihocan right at the end of the cistern, I mentioned it in a previous video, but if we hold Sidestep, we can do a glitch and teleport all the way to the bottom immediately. If we don't, we'll just have to wait for the drop, which is about 2 seconds slower, but not a big deal. In any case, we're going to just swim forward all the way to the end. Then swim down, pull the lever to bring the water down. And then swim back up. If possible, as you swim up, try to surface on the very left, like here, so that it's pretty quick to just run to this lever. Let's running jump through here. Now from here, generally speaking, just shoot the crocodile, jump over him, do a roll, and quickly kill him. Now this section is a little bit different each time, just depending on the crocodile RNG and where you jump. But the important thing to note is that you really want to kill him, because otherwise the game's a little bit broken and he can hit you a few times, basically forcing you to use a med later on in the game if he's alive in this room. So, later on in this level, he can hit you if he's alive. So just kill him, don't have to worry about him after that, and you just climb up here. Do a sand jump, climb up here. And we're going to want to do 2 running jumps over there to that lever. And to set this up easily, you can just look like this and do a roll. And now you're in pretty good position. Now if you climbed up on the very right, you can simply just turn and do a sidestep, for example like this, and you're in good position as well. The reason we want to make sure we're in good position is because we're going to do 2 running jumps like this. But it is very easy to mess up these jumps. For example, after the first one, you can fall like this, and you'll die every time if you fall. So be careful when lining these jumps up. For the first jump, we want to aim somewhere around the middle, and in the second jump, we want to aim towards the diagonal to make sure we have enough space to do that running jump, like this, right? Now we're going to want to do a drop. That's the first trick of this level, basically. The safest way to do that is to grab this leg and shimmy all the way to the left, and then climb up. We don't want to move our position, just our angle now. So, just like other lineups, every runner kind of does their own thing. But for me, I like to use the right shoulder of Lara when I hold look. So I hold look at the right shoulder, and it needs to line up with the black line in the background, like on the right of the lever. So like this is a good lineup. It can also, it's not super precise, but it's somewhat precise. So like for example, this will work, but it doesn't have to be this exact angle. And what we want to do is just press back and grab like this. A line like this. Now if you mess this up, almost certainly you'll just drop down and die. So this lineup is very important to get. I don't recommend doing it the other way, like pulling the lever and going through and then pulling the other lever, just because it is significantly slower. I'll just recommend learning this drop. I might have some pictures below to help with the lineup, but it's really just constant trial and error. Again, it's not as precise as some of the previous lineups, but it is still somewhat precise. Okay, and after that, we just want to do 2 running jumps to the end. If possible, run and jump all the way to the edge, but don't grab here. So you want to knock yourself on the wall like that. It's a really minor thing, but if you grab like this, you'll find yourself below and you'll have to swim up, and it's kind of annoying. But if you just knock yourself on the wall a little bit, it's just a perfect, smooth, forward swim. Anyway, so we just want to swim all the way forward. I'll boost us like this. Now here, ideally we want to climb up as right as possible, but I'm going to show this whole thing. First I'm going to kill this rat. Normally we do not, but I'm going to show a couple of ways to do this climbing section. So first of all, what is the general goal? So the general goal is to climb up on this block and then climb up here like this. But it is somewhat slow, so there are a few ways we can do it a little bit faster. Okay, so first of all, let's say you just jump onto this block and roll, and make sure you're on the very back. Now we can do a quick setup, which is just 2 walking steps. It's a nice extended jump. And then do a jump. Now we can make it without grabbing. And then if you do a roll, you can kind of cancel the stumble, so it's still faster than climbing up. So again, just to repeat, just go on the end, make sure you're facing close to straight. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect, but make sure it's not like this. It's just not gonna work like ever. So try to be approximately straight. 2 steps, running jump, roll. So that's one way, and there is a faster way, but it's significantly more advanced. So ideally we climb up on the very right here, and again the rat is not dead, so sometimes he can push you, but if not, what we can do is just hold forward and left and jump, so like this, and roll. Then now after we rolled on a curve, we can straighten out like this. So we'll make it without having to do the double step setup. But that's pretty advanced, and generally speaking, you need to really understand how Lara moves and what she needs to jump and stuff like that. So I recommend just doing the double step. Just make sure you're on the back, facing forward, facing approximately forward. Then just do 2 steps, running jump, roll, like that. Now another thing, once you get up here, you may have noticed that Pier can shoot you kind of randomly from up there. At this point he normally doesn't, but he still can, and when you climb up, when you glitch up, he can shoot you as well. But there's not really much to say about that except trying to ignore him. Try to do this part pretty quick so he doesn't get a chance to shoot you, because we're going to be out of this room pretty quickly, so obviously don't take the time to kill him or anything. Now once we get up here, we're going to come to this corner and just do a regular corner bug. Just jump twice, we'll teleport on top, and we can turn, roll, and from this part we want to get to the far right, that room, and there's a really nice way to get 2 running jumps pretty easily and being able to dodge that swinging axe with basically no effort. So we want to aim our first running jump basically right at the end of the first tile on that platform. So like this, around here. Because then we can just turn and do a running jump and grab, and we'll make it. So again, I'll just show it. So be careful of course, aiming too left or too right, because then you won't be able to make the jump. So for example, if I do it like this, first of all, I'm too far, and this means that I need to trigger this pendulum. Well, once I touch this tile, it will trigger the pendulum. But the thing is, if you jump like all the way here, or too close like here, then it's really difficult to just quickly do this jump. You'll have to kind of set up your position and then maybe time the axe and then do a jump. So I recommend trying to aim for this position. Right, just turn and running jump like this. Now before you climb up, there's a setup for the next jump we're going to do, which is very precise. So we're going to shimmy all the way to the right and then climb up. Now we want to hold do a standing jump forward and then hold roll like this. Now from this position, we're going to side flip left, and then do one sidestep left, and one walk backwards. Now I'm going to save here, but please note that if you load the save, your camera will be different. So for example, okay, it might not be visible here, but basically we're going to do this somewhat precise angle jump. So it'll look something like this, but it is quite precise, and if you mess this up and you load, your camera can change. Okay, so if that happens and you can't find a lineup again, what you can do to make sure the camera is the same is just set it up again, which isn't very long. So for example, if you're doing this in your first few runs, you might want to just save here rather than all the way at the end, because so you grab here, shimmy right, climb up, don't touch anything, just save. And now if anything goes wrong, you can load this and just do the simple setup again. Also, I should mention that the last two steps, like the side step left and the walk backwards, you can do them in any order, it's up to you. So I did it differently there, but we want this position, and then we have a lineup. Again, just as I mentioned, the lineup's different per person, and mine is a little bit hard to explain, but I will include pictures for this one. I used Laura's left arm, so the very left of Laura's left arm, if it's in the middle of the very thin black line, like this right now. So if I go left, this might still work, but it's pretty borderline, and if it's too right, like this, then it's also probably not gonna work. So, but if it's in the middle, it'll work for sure, like this. And so I forgot to mention, when you get the lineup, all we need to do is get the lineup, get the angle. Now our position doesn't change at this point, it's just the angle, and then we just do a standing jump forward and right like this, and you'll make it. Now sometimes kill this rat. We don't kill this rat. Sometimes what happens if your lineup isn't perfect, you might stumble on this edge here. That's okay, you still made it, but you may want to roll right away, because otherwise the rat can come and push you off, and then if you don't grab, well, again, it's just climbing out of that whole position just to do that. Like, you might as well just load or reset or whatever. So if you stumble here, roll to make sure you don't fall off. I'm gonna show it one more time. So shimmy to the right, climb up, climb, jump, roll, left, side, back one, get the angle, then stand jump forward right, and you just keep moving. Okay. Now I'm actually a little bit more hurt than you would normally be, just because I took some shots before. But in this level, you can probably use a large, I mean, you may have to use it later on. It just depends on some RNG elements and some of your skill. So if you need to use it now for some reason, feel free. You're gonna just want to drop in this water, heading left, just swim all the way. Oops. And when you surface, if possible, get up on a right, so you can do 2 running jumps like this. So running jump left and a running jump on top. But if you just want to do 1 running jump, like so, it's really not that big of a deal. Just make sure you don't stumble, because there is a line that comes out and really hurt you if you stumble. For example, running jump, then standing jump. Be careful of that line, but if you are pretty quick, no stumbles, you should be here no problem. Now the next trick I would rate as the hardest for the new players. Most people struggle on this and take some time to learn it. Oops. So normally what we want to do is get the gold key, put it in here, platforms rise up and jump across. But we're going to do a glitch that lets us basically swim through that platform. This requires a huge setup, so make sure at this point you're pretty comfortable with doing the exact inputs. For example, not moving your position when your position shouldn't be moving, and so forth. If you still struggle with certain specific inputs, for example, the trick in St. Francis's Folly Thor room when you do the block, you might want to leave this for later and still practice that, because this, you really need to make sure all your inputs are correct. Okay, so to start the setup, we're going to come to this edge. We can roll onto it, but in any case, find your way onto this edge and shimmy all the way to the right. And then drop. Once you can control her again, like she isn't stumbling, do one sidestep right, like that. Make sure it's only 1, not 2, and obviously not 0, it's exactly 1. And then do a roll after the full sidestep. Okay. Now from here, we're going to do forward and right running jump. Sorry, running swan dive like this. And remember, we can do this with look, but if you're having problems with look, what you can do instead is use pause buffers. So for example, if I pause, and then I can buffer forward and right, like this. So now I know for sure she is moving forward and right, and then I can, after this pause, I can hold forward, right, jump, and walk for that swan dive, like this. Now after you swan dive, you don't need to, actually you should let go of your directions, but you can hold it for a few seconds, like while she's swan diving. So when she comes in like this, we do want to hold swim though. So the whole thing, so forward, right, swan dive, let go, right, and then we're going to hold swim for 4 strokes, and she'll end up. So at this point, actually, everything should be precise. Like this. We should get a little bit knocked by that block there. If you saw, she got hit by that box underwater, and she's now aiming a little bit to the left. Okay, so 1 stroke, 2 stroke, 3 stroke, 4 stroke. Now, I will say here, just to show the camera change, this one's very evident. So you should be in this position, kind of. Oh, whoops. Okay, well, I'm going to load. If you can't tell, the camera is a little bit different, as you can see here. So okay, so once we reach the end, all we want to do is hold down all the way until it, oops. Okay, sorry, let me restart from the beginning, because as I was explaining, I might have messed something up. So shimmy all the way to the right, wait, 1 sidestep right, roll. Okay, I'm gonna save here, so I'm sure it's fine. Swan dive, just hold swim, 1, 2, 3, 4, let go. Okay, from here. So now when we're at the edge, we want to hold down all the way, and as you can see, the camera will be like this, and then it can't move anymore. It'll just be bobbing up and down. But if I load, right, the camera will be different, but your position is still fine. This will still work if you do the following inputs correctly. I just want to show that don't be confused if you do this and then for whatever reason it's different. It will still work as long as you do everything correctly. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, hold down all the way, so it's like this. So I'm going to save again, but I'll try to not load to show like how the camera is supposed to look if you don't do it without any saves. Okay, so now in this position, we're going to just tap swim twice, like that. And you should be in this kind of position in camera. And I guess I'll save again. And then from here, we want to do one buffer of right, like just like that. And then when we let go of this pause, we're going to hold swim and right. Basically until the camera changes, that's the safe way to do it, but not any more than that. So what I mean by that is like this. Oops. Okay, so I was used to actually doing it the faster way. Let me try if I can. So right buffer, and this all the way until camera like this. Okay, so you should be swimming like this. You can let go of the direction when the camera changes, but don't let go of swim. Okay, now we're going to just slowly tap left, like this. And then eventually, if you tap slow enough, you will go through like this. And then to get out of this position, just tap left more, and then you'll be like this. So that was a lot to go through. Sort of my explanation was a little bit lacking because I had to do it at the same time, but go through it again, hopefully more clear. So this part, hopefully it should be very obvious by now. Shimmy all the way to the right. One side step. Roll. Okay, forward and right, running swan dive, then let go, but hold swim still. 1, 2, 3, 4, let go swim. So you'll be at the very edge. Hold down all the way, wait for this bobbing animation. Then do a swim, 2 swim, and then 1 buffer right. And then while you're still doing that, after the next pause, we're going to do swim and right until the camera changes. When the camera changes, we're going to let go of right, but still hold swim. Like this. And then we're going to just left, slowly until we get through, then left again to drop down. Okay. So again, I would say this is the hardest trick for new players. Basically everyone always struggles with this one because it is very precise. Everything needs to go correctly. So take a while to practice this. It is pretty important. It saves about 30 to 40 seconds. If you really just want to get through the level but you can't do this yet, you can go get the gold key, which is you just pull the lever behind from where the line came from, go up, open the door, get the gold key, come down. As I said, if you do it optimally, it's only like 30 to 40 seconds, but if possible, I do recommend this trick. It saves quite a bit of time and it's really cool. So when you come down here, after that, you're gonna just running jump all the way to this block. And we're going to do a specific path, but for now we can just push it. In the top, and back up on this left, and push again. So at this point, I guess I'll explain what we're trying to do with this block, in case you don't know this game casually, or you forget. So there are 2 tiles that we want to push the block on. This one that I'm on right now, and this one as well. So this one will open that door, which has the key we need. And same with this one, it opens that door which has a key we need. However, we're going to go a little bit of a roundabout route with the block, because if we touch this tile or this tile, it'll open rooms with enemies in them, and that'll be slower than just going this roundabout route. So if let's say you forget the route and you accidentally push this block this way or anything, it's no big deal, just kill the enemies and then just continue pushing the block. But optimally, we're going to push this block all the way, so we will dodge the first one. And then we're going to push this twice. Pull this twice. Okay. Start from the beginning. Okay. Now we can have a nice sequence of doing 2 running jumps and then a standing jump onto the key. But of course, be careful if your sequence is a little bit different. So let's say you're like this, you come here, for example, and doing stand jump, this was still okay, but you may like accidentally land up right here, and you'll get killed by the boulder. So depending on how your sequence is looking, just this is a room where you might have to improvise something to make sure you go somewhat quickly, but you don't die by the boulders. But yeah, no. But otherwise, we're going to just pick up this key, turn around, and if you want the small, you can just go onto it. So otherwise, you can just do some jumps out of here. And we're going to push this block twice. Generally speaking, you don't need that med, but you know, if things are going south, you can feel free to pick it up. And then we can either pull or push this block. But I recommend pushing if you can, if you're closer on the right side, because it is very slightly faster. Away. So we're going to just take back step, standing jump, and a stand jump. Now, there are clang clang doors in this next room, and the best way I recommend to avoid them is to just stay in the center and pretend that they're not there, basically. Because with the sequences that we take, they shouldn't affect you at all. So for example, when you do a jump up here, just hold running jump in the center, then grab onto the key. Take a back step to the side, and then one step to the med. And then one running jump in the middle, and out of here to the left a little bit. So as you can see, the clang clang door doesn't actually do anything, but it can absolutely kill you if you're a little bit too much to the side. Oh, okay, not like that, but okay, maybe not the best example. I think coming out is very generous, actually, but maybe like this. Okay, well, when you're coming in, let's just say that. Yeah, when you're coming in, it is definitely more or less generous. So for example, if you're too much to the side, like that. So just be careful, but as you see on the exit is very generous. So just running jump out of here, doesn't matter. And then, okay, actually, I should talk about this monkey. So as you come out of here, there will be this monkey. He can basically do anything he wants to you. But for the most part, we're gonna just try to get the keys in as fast as possible. So at this point, when you do the first key, he can hit you once or twice. So you need to use a med. But in any case, we're gonna side flip right and also put in this key. Now sometimes he hits you and you end up like here on your side flip. What you can do is still just side flip again, and you should land on the key. Like that, and then you can press action. But sometimes it's really bad and you really can't put in the keyhole, so what you'll have to do is just kind of run back a little bit and then go back to the keyhole. Or you can, the other option is to kill him with your pistols, but that can be a little bit annoying because it can take a while. Generally speaking, you should be able to put in 2 keyholes and get through. Maybe taking a hit or 2, but with not much interference. I would say only kill him if he's like giving you a really bad day. Okay, after putting in those 2 keys, going to go through here. We can do a running jump, but actually, yeah, let me show that. But be careful if you're on low life and trying to save a med or something, because you can take lots of damage. Like that. So I was full life there. I lost a little bit. It's not major amounts, but it is something to take note of. You can also running jump to the left to save a little bit of life. Oh, okay, actually I missed there, but if you want to do it the safest way is just kind of slide up here, or stuff your running jump under this ceiling right here, so you can like this, like that. That's fine too. it doesn't really matter. It's not that long of a slide down. At the end, you just jump, swim through here. You might get bit once or twice by the crocodile. Again, it's kind of whatever. We're gonna climb right here. Try to be on the left as possible, but it doesn't really matter. At this point, really the only thing you can get hit by is Pier at the end. So just take a note of your life, as it might be important later on. So here, it's kind of simple. You can take the simple way of just jumping whenever you can, and then climbing up. Then do 2 standing jumps like this, and then just jump all the way. But there is a very nice sequence we have. There's actually a couple of ways to do it. I'm going to just show one way. And again, if you can't do it, it's not a big deal. But from this beginning, when you climb up on the left, you can do a running jump and 3 steps, then 2 running jumps, and do a slope bug. Okay, so I messed it up. Okay, so yeah, we want to do a running jump, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 running jumps, then a slope bug. Okay. Sorry, it's difficult to do this while explaining, but basically what we're doing with these running jumps is setting ourselves up for a really good position, because as you can see, this is a perfect condition for a slope bug like this. And then we can do actually a running jump over that ideally, but anyway, there's many ways to get through here. If you want the simplest, you can just take some jumps and climb up. Probably just forget what I said, because that sequence, as you can see, is not the easiest, and it only saves a little bit of time. Just make sure you do get across here. Okay, if you do fall down for whatever reason, you can recover. If you don't have a save or whatever, you can do a corner bug here, but it's a little bit wide. It's not like a normal one, so it's kind of strange. See if I can get it. I think I got it. Yeah, okay. But yeah, ideally you do not fall down. It does take up quite some time, so try to make sure you have your jump ready to jump onto this platform. Then just climb up. We're going to pull the lever. Okay, on this drop, it's not anything special, but there's a few things to be careful of. First of all, if you're too sharp, you'll land on here, and it's just a little bit slow because then you have to drop down again. You can also do a backflip, but don't go too much this way, or you'll land here. And again, it's just a little bit of a longer swim. So ideally, you just kind of go in like this small pocket right here. So after you do a lever, just kind of backstep like this, and then swim through. Right, down, and then through this little passage, all the way deep into this kind of secret area. Not really a secret, but. And then when you surface, it's going to be on your left, your back left, like this. So then you just pull the lever. And also, when you leave this room, you just do 2 so let's say you pull the gun, or you're pulling the lever, it's just a back step and then a curved back step and then grab, so you move forward while you drop, which is a nice little boost. And swim all the way up. Safe sequence here is just a standing jump into, oops. Let me just do that again. So 2 back steps, swim. You can get caught on the corners like I kind of was there, so just be careful. You may have to take a wider swim because the corners are a little bit tight. So from here you can just get up, standing jump, running jump, and then just ignore that centaur. Just running jump all the way through. And then if here is pure, so this RNG really is kind of just up to the game, but it is up to you to determine if you need to use a med or not. Obviously right now I'm at full life, but depending on the strategy you choose to fight him, some might be more risky than others, some might like favor health over time, so it's really up to you. Just like any other ranged enemy in this game, try to go behind him, like this, and just try to follow him, but be behind so he doesn't shoot you too much, but also make sure that you're shooting him as much as possible. And there are two things to note. So first of all, when you chase him, he can sometimes go behind these pillars, like over here and even beyond. That's just unfortunate. You just have to get ready, kind of anticipate that he's going to go there so that you can kill him quickly rather than him like avoiding your line of sight for 5 minutes. And the second thing is sometimes if he is killed perfectly on a step, his pickup will not be pick-upable basically. But that is extremely rare. I would say it's just like a good fact to know, but generally speaking, it should be safe to kill him off like near a step. Like if he's around here and you kill him, I would say like 99% of the time it's fine, but just know that if you do kill him on a step, that can happen. Okay, and wherever you pick it up, the key and the magnums, we're going to just try to find a way to this block and then jump up here and then just do this, just put in the gold key. There is a large on the left, as you can see right now, that again is a little bit out of the way, but if you really need a med, it's not the worst thing. Just yeah, you can take it. But normally, since we don't take it, we have a nice sequence here. Just turn, do a running jump, then a second running jump to this step, and then do a roll cancel, and then we can run and jump to the end of the level. And then yeah, we can just skip this with menu and then action, and then menu again, and then it'll be like this. That's Tomb of Tihocan. I hope that helped. Again, there are some tricky jumps and tricks, so make sure to practice that pretty well, as it can take a while before you like really get those consistently, but it's pretty mandatory for the run. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.